Mm-hmm.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Window Podcast. Before we get going, I just want to say a quick thank you to everybody that joined us for our live episode. It was a really enjoyable experience. I know we all enjoyed, um, going at these topics live with the heat and pressure on. And thank you to everybody who engaged with us and let us know what you thought. My name's Josh. I'm joined with Bowlerin and Jewel, and we are the Window Podcast. Guys, how have you been? How have you been since our last um, sit down?
Yeah, no, my week's been good, man. So recently came back from France, did a little tour de France. Um, yeah, just back now, chilling.
Where did you go? Where in France?
Uh, I went to Thiers, Paris, Vichy, and Lyon.
Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Blah. Good times.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like I mean, it was really good. I honestly don't need to go back to France now.
You're done with France now.
Wow.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough.
How about you, Joe?
Been okay. I'm still at home, not working, still on furlough. So just been focusing on stuff for my event and stuff. So busy, but not that busy. It's a weird feeling. like,
Mm.
but yeah, that's it. Boring.
Good. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't really had much go on for me this week. Uh, just been trying to regulate the weather in my room, temperature in my room, not overheat, and
Little
not not
ecosystem going
not
on there.
allow too many, not allow too many unidentified flying objects into my room. I've been
Oh,
struggling to sleep though. I've been struggling to sleep. I
mm,
don't. I can't remember the last time I got more than 4 or 5 hours sleep. And usually I sleep like 9 hours. So it's rough right now. It's rough right now. But we're all here, so
Mm.
that's good. Um, Today we wanted to address some recent controversies. It seems like that's all we do. Just address recent controversies. But
mm,
um, recently we've been having uh quite a few celebrities. What's the word? Acting out. Um, you know, uh, having displays right on social media, and I think a lot of people have struggled with what to do with these people. So the first person on our list that we want to address is Kanye West. Now, uh, Kanye has been having controversies online and in real life for a while now. So, I mean, it's not too much of a surprise. But it seems this year he's taken it up a notch. So,
Yeah, very much in his character.
just a little bit it's a little bit different. So, for anybody that
mm,
does not know, um, in 2020, Kanye West, in the space of maybe a month, has announced he's running for president. Um, Announced that he wanted to divorce his wife Kim Kardashian. Um, Announced that he wanted to have an abortion for his first child. Um, and has gone back to doing a flurry of tweets every other day that people will sit around and try and decode because some of them do not make sense to to anyone outside of Kanye's mind. So, um, some of this stuff we've seen before with Kanye in terms of the flurry of tweets, the controversial statements. But I think the presidential campaign has got a lot of people wondering what on earth is going on this time. Especially the rally that took place in I think it was South Carolina, where he made some
Absurd statements.
some wild statement. Oh yes, I forgot. And Harriet Tubman. He made the statement about Harriet Tubman. That was another, aside from the abortion statement, that was another statement that had people just lost for words.
Yeah.
Now, I guess with Kanye, we have the extra added layer of the fact that he himself has said that he is bipolar, right? So it's not like we're trying to diagnose him here today, but he himself has said it, and his wife also recently has said it after he made some statements about their marriage. So there is that layer to things as well. But I just wanted to get you guys' opinions on how you processed. Do you just block him out when Kanye goes into this kind of mode, or do you watch and try and figure out what is going on there? Like, what have you guys made of Kanye's most recent? I don't know how to even describe it.
All right, so I'll start. Okay. I thought, you just like, what's the word? I think the phrase is like it's like you when you're a celebrity, you think like everything that happens to you is just as a result of that onslaught of media attention and the paparazzi, all that sort of stuff. But at this point, I'm sold on the fact that he just brings it on himself. Like everything that happens, even with his condition, he encourages it, he pushes it, he makes it happen. And it's hard for me now as a fan to even engage with him on a sort of level where I can say, oh yeah, man, I do kind of get what you're saying, I do kind of get it, but at this point, I honestly just don't care. I really find it hard to engage with him. So whenever he says anything like, oh yeah, I'm running for president, or I want to divorce my wife, I just don't care. Just give me good music, and that's all I want to do. That's the name of your record label. Just give me good music, and that's the absolute maximum I want to hear from you. Like, just give me good music. That's it.
I hear that. Joel.
I don't spend a lot of time thinking about him. Like when all this kind of stuff arose. What kind of language are you using? Rose. I was a bit like, okay, cool, whatever. Especially with the tweets, I was just like, whatever. Like when he's like calling out Kris Jenner and all that kind of stuff, just whatever. Like whatever. When he called Kim, what do you call her? Did he call her a white supremacist?
No, he said Chris Jong-un is. I think he said Kim is a white supremacist.
He said Kim is a white supremacist, and that's where I'm like, you are not a sane person, and I cannot listen to what you're saying, because the same person that you're calling a white supremacist is
one of your children.
Literally, you chased her for how long? Felt entitled to this woman, and before that, you rubbished Amber. You rubbished Amber Rose. So I'm more concerned about what he's saying about black people, because he's someone that's influential in at least the African American space. In terms of what he thinks, people think that he's woke, or people think that he's got progressive thought processes. And I'm at a point where the things that he's saying, even the more inflammatory statements, aren't actually that enlightened. So, for example, when he said that slavery was a choice, he then, as soon as he said that, maybe it was just me, but I knew what he was trying to say. And I was like, okay, whatever. People are going to get mad at this. I know what you're trying to say. It was very poorly worded. And someone that poorly doesn't wear things correctly in such an open space like that. What's wrong?
Like, where's your PR? Like,
Literally.
Kanye is actually, he's too incoherent too much of the time. So even when he comes back to try and clear up a statement, or comes back to try and
the damage is done.
And even as a huge fan, I can't. It's very hard to. I'm not bipolar, so I can't begin to imagine like how his thought processes must work.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still the one that's taking in the information that you're giving to me as a fan. So like, I'm thinking, hold on, whoa, what the hell are you saying here? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, why are you calling your own wife a white supremacist? Like, what's going on? I don't know, man. It's difficult, man.
But like, for example, when he jumped on stage with the whole like Taylor Swift thing, was he also having an episode? Because that's also nuts.
You see, that's the thing. At the time, nobody would have said it was an episode, right?
Yeah.
But I'm a big Kanye fan, right? So
yeah,
I watch all of what's going on, and I'm not a doctor. So I can't, say, oh, this is this for sure. But what I've realized is there is a trend with him. If you watch closely enough, you can spot. And so at the time, no one would have called that an episode, right?
That's just Kanye.
But now, if you look back and you know what to look for, you can see the signs. I can't say conclusively, but obviously there's different types of bipolarity, right? So there's bipolar 1, there's bipolar 2. It affects different people in different ways, right?
Yeah.
But with Kanye, there are certain things that whenever he is having an episode, they repeat themselves. So one thing is, and this is going to sound crazy. This is going to sound crazy, but one thing is his hair. Whenever he's having an episode, he does crazy stuff to his hair. So I don't know if you remember back on the Taylor Swift side, he had weird stuff in his hair.
Yeah.
Right. And then
that's an interesting part, actually.
And then when he came out of the hospital, remember when he had his breakdown in 2016? When he came out of the hospital, do you remember he went to go and visit Trump?
Yeah.
At Trump's tower place in New York. Do you remember what his hair was like?
It was blonde, right?
Exactly. He had cut off the sides and he dyed it blonde. And then you remember he disappeared for the rest of 2017 because he did that visit at the beginning of 2017. He disappeared for the rest of 2017. We didn't hear anything from him. And then the next time we see him is in 2018, where he seemed to be having his next episode. And what was the interesting thing with his head? What was the first thing we saw about him?
Right. Was it the one where he had like the whole thing shaved on the side?
No, the MAGA hat.
Oh.
Right. He had his hair dyed as well at that time.
Yeah.
Blonde,
yeah.
But he was wearing the MAGA hat. Right.
So isn't that more a symbol of his political affiliation?
Yeah, obviously there was other symbolic meaning to it, but there's a something about what he does with his hair during episodes that is significant. Because when he went to the rally in South Carolina this year, he had actually cut 2020 into his head, and he dyed the top of his head orange, but you couldn't really see it from the lighting. But there is a trend of when certain people have mental issues, they shave off their hair. Like you all remember Britney Spears shaving off her hair and stuff like that.
It's like a need to express through a lot of different avenues.
Yeah. So there is that. So that's why I say, looking back to when the Taylor Swift thing happened, it's possible he could have been in that episode because you've got the hair thing going on and you've got alcohol as well. Yeah. So a lot of times with people that are bipolar, when there's drugs involved, drugs even including alcohol, that can spark things, right? So if you add that into the play, that can kick something off. Like I was saying, I've spotted a trend. Because remember, he had his breakdown in where he went to the hospital in 2016. But that whole year he was moving crazy. I don't know if you remember the beginning of the year when he put out his album, The Life of Pablo, and he went on a Twitter rant about Wiz Khalifa.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that? It's very
Yeah.
reminiscent to the Twitter rant that he had in 2018 where he was going at Drake, and this year in 2020 where he was going at his own wife.
Imagine that, man.
And can you see
Imagine that.
it's every other year. It's every other year. And it gets worse and worse and worse. Right? Because
So
2017, we don't hear anything from him. 2019, he's doing the church thing. He's not really saying anything. And it's like, okay, cool. If he's doing church and it works for him, then it works for him. But 2016, 2018, 2020, he has these like wild flurries where everybody's just like, what is going on?
But what's interesting with the church thing, I feel like sometimes when we see someone doing something obsessively, but we think that that thing is a good thing, everyone thinks it's calm. But like I saw that and I was like,
yeah, I mean,
that's another thing. Yeah. That's another thing with bipolarity. A lot of people have extreme religious experiences when they are bipolar.
Yeah, like religion is a catalyst for neurosis.
Exactly. So the signs are there. Me personally, when I look at him, I don't think like he's making it up. Because, you know, a lot of people say, oh, well, he seems to like come out with these controversial statements every time he's got an album coming. And that's
probably when he's in a creative space.
Exactly. I feel like people are looking at it the wrong way. They feel like, oh, he's got an album coming, so now he feels like he needs to do something controversial.
Yeah, sure.
It's probably more so when he goes into a manic state. That's when he feels creative. And then obviously he'll go and announce an album, and you realize he goes and announces these albums and they're never ready. They never come out the time that he said they come out. Because when you're in that manic state, you're basically delusional. So you think that you can do stuff, i.e. become president, when you start running late and you can't even get on the ballot for most
you can't get onto the ballot. Like, I'm still waiting on Yandy. What the fuck?
So in light of all of that, I think the biggest problem with Kanye is this is a man with unlimited resources. Literally, I mean, at this point, well, until November, he has the phone line of the president. He has $2 billion companies backing him. His family is probably the most famous family in the world.
Yeah.
And so even
that's probably the worst thing he could have done for himself.
Yeah, like his platform is actually insane. Like,
his
facilities and what he has available to him is too much. Even the someone who's bipolar is too much. Like, someone needs to rein it in.
But the problem is then, how do you stop someone like that? Because obviously they have what they say to everyone is like, okay, you have to do it, right? Because everybody's on their payroll. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like he's in a position where he doesn't have enough cushion to make all these errors that he makes. But at the same time, you will get to a point where you'll make a mistake that you can't get back from.
Okay, maybe it was just me, but when he was speaking about North, I was like, that's extremely traumatic. That's something that maybe you have a conversation with your child when they're a little bit older to tell them the realities of life and make sure they also feel loved within the space. That is ridiculous that you would share that information without speaking to your wife, without thinking about how that might affect your child at some point in the future.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I mean, I agree. But when a person is in mania, it's the same logic that we would think through with these decisions.
No, I get that, but I just feel like this is the time where everything needs to be locked off. Like,
I agree. I think when he does, calm down,
Yeah.
he really does have a serious decision to make about,
Yeah.
because he's said multiple times that he's stopped taking medication, right?
Yeah.
He feels like the medication stifles his creativity, and how am I going to be doing music and fashion and so on and so forth if I'm
Not
medicated?
creative.
And uh, is that true, or is that something that is just in his head? We don't really know. I mean, I remember when he came out of the hospital. I remember the first pictures I saw of him when he came out of the hospital, and the guy looked like a zombie. Like, he looked like he was not there. So if he does say, "Oh yeah, when I'm on the meds, I don't feel myself," I'm inclined to believe him. Although it might not be true. There may be a way for him to be just as productive and just as creative on medication that he just hasn't found yet. Because another interesting thing as well that I wanted to bring up, and I wanted to hear you guys' thoughts on this, is the amount of famous people that actually do have a bipolar, I don't know if you use the word disorder, right? So I looked it up, and this is a few names. Yeah, this is a few names. Mariah Carey, that one surprised me.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
It doesn't. I don't really follow her, so I don't really know. Yeah, I don't really know, but it surprised me. But I guess there's some stories out there that maybe make sense of that.
So you literally think she's like a queen, like she's royalty.
Actual diva, like an actual diva.
Yeah, because a lot of people with bipolarity, when they're in mania, basically develop like god complexes, to a degree. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised about that. Another one is Demi Lovato, but I've heard about like her struggles, and obviously another thing that they say is that people with bipolar are more likely to commit suicide, number one, and more likely to have addictive habits like drug use and so on. So her battle with
drug
makes
use,
sense.
She was also a severely she was bulimic as well.
That makes sense. Another person, Jimi Hendrix. Yeah, apparently, and another person, Frank Sinatra. Right, and apparently they both had very violent tendencies, which was a surprise to me. And then another person, Nina Simone, that I didn't expect. I don't know if you've heard the story about her talking about how she nearly shot a record executive. Have you never seen it? She's talking about it in her interview, and she's like, "Yeah, I nearly shot the man, but I just missed." But yeah.
So no, she shot. She shot the gun.
Yeah, she shot the gun.
She shot the gun. All right, okay.
And then, final person on this list, and there's more people that probably you wouldn't expect. Winston Churchill.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah, they said that he would have really low depressive points. He wouldn't want to see people, blah blah blah. But when he would go into mania, he would have like this super high level of productivity. Like, it was crazy.
Super charismatic.
He wouldn't want to sleep. He would just be working, boom, 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 boom. Which I think is very interesting, because for me, there's quite a few of those names I wouldn't have thought that they were, bipolar. But I say that to say, obviously, there has been a sort of noticed correlation that sometimes a lot of people that have high sort of creativity usually have some kind of mental
ailment.
And so with someone like Kanye, where so many people are reliant on him to make music, to make fashion, like he's basically the livelihood of so many people, is it as easy as, hey, go and get help, or hey, go and put on meds, to convince someone like that? It is a very difficult situation.
If we just look at fashion right now, he has influenced it so much. It's ridiculous. I feel like we don't even deep how much he's influenced it. Like
I know. I think I feel like I have a very clear awareness of how much is
it's
influenced fashion. It's
nah.
actually crazy. It's insane. It's insane.
Like he's got his line, okay, great, but everyone takes something. It seems like everyone's taking something on that line, even
Yeah.
from the colorways. That neutral thing, everyone's doing it, and I'm telling you, it came from
Yeah.
him.
All of that.
Nah, man.
I mean, when I look at fashion, I just look at like the people that were all underneath him at one time, and like now all of them are the heads of fashion houses. Obviously, we all know about Virgil Abloh, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think his influence there is very clear. But I think it's an interesting story to watch because it does feel like there's a car crash waiting to happen there. It seems like he's had like close swerves so far.
Yeah. Yeah. He's been road running for a minute, switching lanes. Like,
yeah, it's just like, okay, how long can this go on for? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like the public is even like we've let go of a lot of things that I feel like probably people shouldn't necessarily have let go of. Like,
do you think so?
Yeah, man. Yeah, like
I don't think people have let go of stuff. I think people definitely hold things.
Maybe not let go, but like we've accommodated certain things, and like we just kind of like just shuffled it to the side a little bit.
Okay, when you say we the public, what do you mean? Because I think the general public have. I don't think they have let go of things, but I think because he's got like a core group of people that whatever he does, they're gonna support it. So it might give the illusion that the general public just still, But I think in the general public have pretty much, I don't want to say turned their back, but they've loosened their grip on him and kind of just been like, okay, whatever's going on over there is whatever's going on over
here. Yeah, true. Maybe the idea of Kanye and his antics is a bit more novel now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but I think generally speaking, even still, like he still has like a huge platform and is able to enhance and elevate and go through all the stuff he's able to do because people still accommodate and just kind of let go of his annoyances and his antics. Like, why would someone who says something like, I don't know, Joe, what was that thing that you mentioned earlier?
Slavery is a choice.
Slavery was a choice. Why would anyone who says that get a deal with that?
They didn't care about black people. He used to talk about stuff like that. He used to talk about black people. He used to be a supporter of black people. But they don't care about people.
So okay, we'll get to that. Let's quickly specifically address the media. Do you think the way the media handles his controversies is correct?
I just feel like they report it.
And do you also think the way social media handles it is correct? Because I feel like social media is can be hypocritical in the sense of social media a lot of people on social media try to make it out as if they're really concerned about people's mental health and how that affects them. But then when it's celebrities, they suddenly don't see them as human beings and they throw all of that mental health talk out the window. And it's just like, okay, if we don't like you, we just don't like you, right? And we're just going to pile it on you.
Yeah.
So that I'm a bit skeptical about how social media treats. I always feel like, listen, if something happens that you don't like, don't give it attention. Because if you go and give it attention, you're going to spread it, right? For example, I remember when he went to TMZ and said slavery was a choice. And I saw that live, right? Now, in my head, I thought, that's not going to go down well with people. But obviously, I watched him like I watched the whole thing in it. So when he was saying what he was saying afterwards, like Joel said, I knew what he was trying to say, but I also realized he said it completely horribly. Like this, pretty much the same with the Harriet Tubman thing. Because after that, he carried on with what he was saying, and it made sense. But you knew that what he said there was just like the most outlandish and brash way of saying.
He's trying to say, you know, when someone's like, when the preacher says something and it's just like a whoa statement.
Yeah.
Like everyone goes, excuse me.
Everybody's like, no, you could have a different way, right? So, but I see those things happen live, like when it happens, right? And in my head, I'm like, oh, okay, that's not gonna go down well with people. But the amount of people that watch the TMZ interview live was not that many people. The amount of people that watched that rally live was not that many people. It's only when you take the clip and put it onto social media, that's when loads of people are going to hear it. And so you the person saying, oh, what he's saying is so harmful, blah, blah, blah. But you've come and put it onto the platform for more people to hear it. There was about 200 people in that room when he said it, right? 200 people compared to you putting it on social media and blowing it up to millions of people, right? The Shade Room has how many millions of people are following them? So whenever these people are like, oh, you said this and it's so dangerous and it's like blah, blah, blah. I'm like, guys, if you didn't pay it any mind, how many people do you think would have actually heard that?
I mean, we can't argue about why people are going to put something that they know is inflammatory on Twitter for likes and retweets. There's no point.
No, but I'm saying the social media and the media try to act like they are ethical, right?
Yeah.
But they're clearly not. Because for me, a lot of the stuff he says, right, is like stuff like you get mad people outside the train station saying, yeah, are we gonna go and put a camera on the mad guy outside the train station? And let
people would. Some people genuinely would.
Are the Shade Room gonna do that?
No.
So we know why they're doing it. And then they're gonna put a caption saying, "Oh, Kanye said this, and it's so dangerous," and blah blah. And it's like, no, guys, let's be honest. You're using this for your game. This didn't have to be highlighted.
The whole point of the Shade Room and Gossip TV and all these blogs is to tell people stuff that they pretend they don't care about, but they really do. And people posting about Breonna Taylor underneath. But you read the thing, you follow the page, like you're obviously interested. Like people care about celebrity. People like the idea of someone that's not as attainable to them. Even in terms of Kanye's episodes, I feel like people look at it and it's like it's almost a luxury to be able to sit back and judge someone like that, because you feel like, oh, he's got so much money, he's married to Kim K, he's got all these cute kids, blah blah. Like I feel like once you put people on those kind of pedestals, you don't realize what you're saying and what it actually means. People are like that at the end of the day.
I think the general public and social media really strip celebrities from their humanity. So easily, and we don't realize that that's what we're conditioned to do. And I do think we do have to be, if we're saying mental health is so important, I think we do have to start being more responsible about how we handle celebrities and mental health, because a lot of celebrities have mental health issues, right? And so if we don't navigate that and become a bit more fine-tuned with how we deal with that, we could literally be making spectacles out of people that really need help.
That's precisely what we're doing.
And I guess at that point, that's probably where we should talk about Wiley.
There we go.
Wiley. I don't even know. I don't even know where to get started with Wiley, because Wiley, much like Kanye, he's been acting out for a while. And
did you guys watch his Uzi Mills interview?
Yes, I did watch.
Yeah.
I watched that, and I've
Speaking.
not really been able to put my finger on what is going on with him. Whether it's, I don't know whether his situation is a mental health situation or whether it's a drug situation or both. I'm really not sure, honestly. And
I
it
don't
really
encourage speculation on that one. Like,
yeah. At
let's
least with
just go off
Kanye,
what he's
we knew exactly
so,
what his problem was, right? We
yeah.
don't want to speculate and try and diagnose Wiley,
Yeah.
but I think we all agree that there's something off, or we don't all agree.
I mean,
He reminds me of like a crazy uncle.
And he's a bit beyond the crazy.
Like he's got cool stories to tell you. He probably says some really intelligent things from time to time, but half the time he's kind of babbling, and you're like, oh, okay. And then he'll say something smart, and you're like, oh, okay, cool, you're cool, dude. And you carry on. Like, I feel like in totality he's quite harmless. Like in totality, but
If we're going back to the stories we've heard about him,
yeah,
is that
okay.
harmless? I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe harmless was the right word. But in terms of like the stuff that he's saying and the stuff that's on social media, even the stuff that was going on between him and Stormzy, that was just all very entertaining. Like it was just like cool, they're fighting, but what?
Drake always gets these guys that are a bit. Drake always somehow like
Drake is trying to beat people that don't want to beat them. He's trying to beat people that don't care. Why is he mentioning Maya Jama like he wants to battle Stormzy or something? Like he wants to chat to Stormzy. Everyone needs to.
No, I don't think that was
chill.
I don't.
Everyone's chill.
I don't think that was sinister, but it could have been. It could have been. We don't know.
If he wants to chat to Maya Jama, there's DMs in it. You don't have to call out in the song.
yeah. I mean, I think Drake wants to find himself more involved in UK culture.
In the UK scene.
Yeah, I think that's just literally.
I think he would love to have beef with a UK rapper. I think he would love it.
No, I don't.
I think he would.
I don't think that looks good for him.
He want to chop him up, man. He want to chop him up.
Because Wiley's been calling him out for years now, actually. And Drake hasn't said anything. I don't think Drake wants to beef a UK rapper.
I don't think it would be Wiley though.
No, I don't think
it has to be someone that people care about. Ooh.
Because Drake beefing a UK rapper, right? That doesn't give him like any points. Over there in the US, they're not going to respect him for beefing a UK rapper because they don't rate UK rappers. Over here, it doesn't do good for his legacy of always like helping up up and coming UK rapper, yeah. For him to now turn around and beef a UK rapper, it'll be like, bro, what are you doing? Like, we've been allowing you to run around in our culture for a while now. Like, I don't think he wants to beef anyone from the UK. I don't. But anyways, we could discuss this. We need to get back to Wiley. So Wiley. Over the course of, I don't know, some days, basically came out with some comments about the music industry, how he's been treated specifically by Jewish people in the music industry. Yeah. Well, at least that's what I took away from what he was saying. Now, he also did go on to say that the Jews, that Israel is not their land. And he made some other claims as well. I don't really know the details. You guys can maybe add to that. And
I'm not messing with that.
Very, very, very quickly, he got booted out. It felt like, first and foremost, the black community were like, Wiley, we're not backing you on this one, number one. And then number two, it felt like the Jewish community said, hey, listen, social media, you need to do something about this guy. They didn't beat about the bush. They didn't talk for too long. They did their complaining for about 1 or 2 days max. After the second day, they said, all of us are bouncing off social media until you get rid of this guy. And I'm not gonna lie, I rate that, right? Because they didn't talk for too long. They just got straight to the action. they got straight to the action, and they got their results. I mean, you could argue they got their results for other reasons, but they got their results. After that, a lot of Black people, especially, have pointed out that, hey, we as a community have had people make comments about us, and there hasn't been such harsh and quick action taken following
the investigation.
Yeah, and he's now under police investigation as well, right?
Yes.
So
I have
there,
plenty
so
of things to
people,
do, plenty of racist incidences. I can report a lot.
I think we honestly may need that for this particular episode.
So people have said, okay, what is going on here? Isn't this kind of like maybe confirming some of the stuff that he was saying in terms of what some people believe about the Jewish community, in the difference of response? So yeah, what do you guys think about that? What do you think about, first and foremost, the actual things that Wiley said, and then what has happened since then? And then also, what do you think about possibly mental health playing a part here?
Okay. Joel?
Do you see how quickly he got kicked off social media?
So are you just going to skip straight to that bit?
Yeah, honestly, like,
going to skip straight to that bit?
You know. Let me say a little bit. All right, cool. So it goes like this. Wiley was obviously very much out of pocket. Like there were clearly anti-Semitic statements that he made. There's no debate about that. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, maybe we can interpret it like this or we can interpret it like that. Like it was obviously very anti-Semitic. However, it was very expeditious in how he was dealt with on, I think, Twitter. And what was it? What else did they bounce him off of?
IG, I think he was banned.
And IG, yeah.
Facebook have banned him as well.
I think so. Yeah, I think Facebook banned him as well. Yeah. So 3 separate social media applications, 3 separate platforms bounced him with little haste. Now, again, the problem there specifically is how there are people on the other side of the spectrum that share or did share a lot of anti-Black or anti-brown or anti-Muslim or anti-Islamic sentiments. I know we can all think of examples right now, and the sort of dragging of the feet that it took to even get them off one application, it's not right. It's a bad look. It doesn't sit right. Like you give a poor impression when you do that. You show that you obviously stand more so with one side, and that's the problem I have with the whole episode.
Okay,
it's a very, very poor look.
That I can agree with. There's a lot of people in the social media space and the celebrity world. Jeffree Star, Sean Dawson, Katie Hopkins. You probably don't know the first 2. They're like,
I know Jeffree Star. He's got the jaw like this.
Yeah. Katie Hopkins, Tommy Robertson, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Made very inflammatory statements about Black people. Sean Dawson has made very scary statements about children and pedophiles.
Yeah, I saw that. Wasn't he the one that said something about Willow Smith?
Yeah. And all of these people are still on socials, making videos, making content, making money.
Monetizing.
No, Katie Hopkins is gone.
Yeah, she's kicked off. Gone. But that was so recent. After years and years, this woman was able to go on television and tell people that she doesn't allow her children to play with people with certain names because.
I thought his name was India, I swear. One of the daughter's names is India.
She's a hypocrite and she's not. Yeah. But like, she was able to say terrible classist things, racist things, sexist, everything under the sun, and was not kicked off. And I'm going to say it's because she is a white woman. That's the end of the day, and that's it. And it just has shown how much people do not care about the feelings, lives of Black people and Asian and Muslim people.
Right. right now, like it's at the point where it's not even trying to be hidden. Like there's no,
No.
it's not, it's overt. It's very overt, and it makes me think of that. I don't know if you guys saw that clip of that BBC News report of that guy that was attacked. Was it Manchester? And
Yeah.
they repeated
Bradford or something.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, somewhere up.
in,
Yeah,
in that news report, they reported the use of the N word. Like they actually
Edward.
they uttered it.
I think they're trying to provoke people at this point. I genuinely think that in how many years that word has not entered the television space from a white person's mouth, and you're telling me now
is what you want to say. And if you're telling me you can say that word on, look at how I'm pointing at this camera right now. If you're telling me you can say that word on morning news television, I better hear every other political incorrect word that under the sun. I need to hear those words in the BBC News because it's unacceptable.
They bleeped out. Didn't they bleep out the F word, but they said the N word? Does that make sense?
You acknowledge, you say that you acknowledge that it's offensive word you're about to say, and then you go ahead to say it. If I'm a black family, if I'm a black middle working class family in the UK, and for some reason the news is on, and my daughter or my son hears that word on BBC News outside of watershed times, bro, like, can you not even begin to comprehend how that would make me feel? Imagine a Jewish family hearing that under the same hearing an anti-Semitic word in the same context. Like, would that ever run? Why on earth would that ever run? I don't know, man. It's like the current state of affairs in the UK.
People have been fighting to say the N word for how many years? They don't care.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, obviously, with Wiley in particular, we know he's a little washy. I don't know what his situation is, but I think it speaks to a larger issue. Like, and like what he was saying when he actually had to. I think someone interviewed him to explain what he said, and he was talking about they should take the MBE back.
Take it back!
Take it back, man. Take it back. Because what does it mean? What does it mean anyway when you take it back? Well, like, it means nothing. Like, you don't even respect the guy anyway. You don't respect.
You don't care about the queen.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Let me, I guess, play devil's advocate a bit.
Maybe
I have a different opinion on this. Me personally, I don't think anybody should be banned off social media. I don't think Wiley should have been banned. I don't think Katie Hopkins should have been banned. I don't think anyone else who says crazy statements should be banned. Me personally, I'm big on free speech, and free speech for your enemy is free speech for you. That's how I see it, right? So I don't believe banning people is the right thing to do. But since they started banning people, right? Now, one could argue, this is one possible argument, okay, they finally realized the severity of, allowing certain people to speak on their platforms. So they started the banning with Katie Hopkins. And it just so happens that Wiley came after Katie Hopkins. And so it's not necessarily that, they see, they were...
I know what you're trying to say. Like,
it's like a climate thing rather than basically that's one argument. Another argument that I think I'm more inclined to is that it's more so how the Jewish community behaved that had the biggest contribution to the quickness and severity of action. Because from what I've noticed, and I could be wrong, you guys could maybe know something that I don't. When Katie Hopkins says something bad, we usually go and take her. It's like what I said earlier about the media going to take something Kanye said that maybe not as many people would have heard, but then you go and bring it onto social media and then blow it up, right? And then you say, oh, this is really bad, this is really bad. But you've also added attention to something that you're saying is really bad, and you're saying you didn't want anybody to hear, right? So we would, after Katie Hopkins has said something, we will go and take it. Then we'll say, oh, have you seen what she said? And then we will talk about it. And then that's it, right? And so a whole load of talking has happened. A whole load of attention and traffic has come, but we haven't got what we wanted, right? Whereas with the Jewish community, they talked about what Wiley said, but they did it for maximum 2 days. Then they already organized that they were going to do this walkout of social media, right? So on the second day, they all said, we're hopping off social media for, I can't remember how long they did it for, but they had a walkout of social media. And it wasn't just Jewish people as well. It was other people in solidarity with them as well that hopped off. And I think if we had done something like that, where we said, okay, Katie Hopkins has done something, but imagine if Black Twitter said, we're hopping off until you remove this woman. Yeah, we're gone.
But Black people don't see themselves as a community.
Twitter would have just got rid of that one account quick. Yeah, because the amount of revenue and traffic the Black community bring to Twitter, is incomparable. So sometimes it's like, guys, let's get things right. Let's fine tune things. Yeah,
we need to know that, but there's a massive difference. There's a massive difference between the Jewish community and the Black community. If you offended Ghanaians, we can all jump off. If you offended Nigerians, you can all jump off. If you offend Jamaicans, for example, or Bajans, they can all jump off as a collective group because we actually identify with each other. Black people, we have a shared experience, but we're not together like that. So to organize something, even all of this stuff that's been happening, like with Black Lives Matter and the protests and stuff like that, I've been looking at it in absolute awe because I'm like, wow, how are we're actually doing things together when there's been so much like contention. So I just feel like that's why they were able to react in the way that they did. It's also something that we as a Black community need to work on, so there's a little bit more unity so we can do that sort of stuff. Because I do agree with you. I do think that if we jumped off, things would change.
So one last thing. What about the way the Black community treated Wiley after the comments? Me personally, I saw it as we kind of, I don't want to say we've been turning our back on him from before it, but we've been looking at him sideways from before these comments, right? And so now I think we didn't have the willpower, to be like, Wiley, you've made a mistake, but we're gonna still help you through it, right? It just,
we feel like the Black community has turned their back on Wiley. So like when this was all happening, it didn't seem like Black people were supportive of him.
Yeah, I mean, I say we definitely had that.
There's mentally something a bit. Do we think we should have supported him, helped him? I can't say it directly because I'm not a doctor, you know what I'm saying? But I genuinely feel like there's
too much. I think he smokes too much. I don't think it's necessarily.
Maybe he's just maybe he's on the white. Is he on the white?
I think he's on the white. I definitely think he's on the white. Definitely.
So apart from that, I feel like Wiley is a bit of a crazy uncle. I feel like he says some smart things, he says some mad things. Like when I was listening to the ZZ Mills interview, I was like, okay, like he's all right. He's just a bit tweaky. Like it's all right. But I feel like the Black community did not respond in a supportive manner because of exactly what he did, because of what he spoke about. And that's all I had to say on that.
So you think the black community were running scared? And I guess when we're saying the black community, we're talking about like artists, fellow musicians, fellow celebs, and all of that. So let me clarify my point a bit more in what I'm about to say. So I know me listening to rap music, yeah, and I'm talking about American rap music. They would always mention how they've got a Jewish lawyer who will help them beat the case. You know, it was always this. There's always this theme about Jewish people, and then a lot of the record execs, like one of the most famous record execs, I don't know if you've heard of him, called Leo Cohen, which he has like a clear Jewish name, right? He's like the most well-known record exec, and there's more, right? And so there's always been this idea of rap has been constructed and sort of
the industry,
the powers that be,
the
powers that be, and Jewishness. There's like a hand in handness about it, and so if there is some degree of truth to that, then you might understand why certain artists may keep their mouth.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's true. That's very true.
But you know, I don't know about the UK music industry. I don't know if it's exactly the same over here. I don't even know if those type of stereotypes are true. I don't know. But what we've seen doesn't necessarily go against it.
Yeah.
If you put certain dots together, that's what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, no, I definitely agree with that. Like the way the industry is structured is it's like it's been said that a certain community is pulling the strings, or a certain type of person is pulling the strings. So maybe it could be that. Could be that.
Yeah. So we'll pray for Wiley.
Pray for Wiley.
We'll pray for Wiley. And we hope that this will not create too much tension between the black community and the Jewish community. I think both communities have mutually suffered, at the hands of other communities, and we can share from our experiences and hopefully move forward. Meg Thee Stallion. It's been a pretty weird couple of weeks in terms of the news cycle for Meg Thee Stallion. We got news that Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez were arrested. That seemed odd to everybody. Only for things to further unfold, and we found out that Meg Thee Stallion actually was shot. No, sorry. We were told that Tory Lanez shot his gun outside of a house in a truck. Then later on, we found out that Meg Thee Stallion was shot. Then we found out that Meg Thee Stallion was shot by Tory Lanez. Or at least that's where the story currently stands. And I don't think anybody would have predicted this before the lockdowns, right? And Meg Thee Stallion is someone who has suffered quite a lot of loss in a very short period of time, right? How old is she?
Like 20, I want to say 24.
I think she's about 25-ish. Yeah, because she was still in uni as of last year, I swear. Right, so she's still relatively young.
Might even be younger than 25.
Might be younger, yeah. Lost her mum, I want to say 2018 or beginning of 2019. Lost her mum, who was her manager as well. Very big influence on her. And now, obviously, we heard about the contract situation with record label, and now this. And it just seems like a lot. It just seems, I still can't really make sense of the whole story because I don't know whether there was drugs involved, because I can't see a sober Tory Lanez shooting anyone, to be honest, let alone a woman. But that's what they're saying happened. And I guess that has to go through whatever process. But what do you guys make of that situation, and what do you make of how people have spoken about it once again on social media since the details have come out?
In terms of the actual facts, I don't feel like we have enough facts. She's come and spoken, and she's cried, and she's really exposed herself after this. My main thing is the way that people have been reacting. It makes me absolutely sick, like genuinely sick. I think I saw someone speaking about how I don't think they were trying to be mean, but basically saying that people are treating her like it was a man on man situation, which, to be honest, assault is assault, whatever. But if we do want to talk about like erasing her femininity, like, it's been mad. Like, the people just genuinely didn't see her as a woman because she's tall and she's brown skinned. Like, what?
That's always been a recurring problem with Meg for some reason. People have always tried to, like, they call into question like her beauty, how she's built, like the fact that she raps, all this kind of business. Like, I don't know what it is with her in particular. I don't know. Like,
I think it is I think once again it is a celebrity issue, because obviously, especially down south, having big framed black women is not rare, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of celebrity images of women, right, that is not the common celebrity image that is pushed. So Meg now being in the limelight as a celebrity is a different component than, say, a day-to-day, going around in Texas where she's from on a day-to-day. No one is gonna make a big deal out of how she is. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's celebrity. It's once again this celebrity sphere where a lot of things are distorted in public perception, that I think opens gateways for these kind of things to happen. Because we've seen it happen before. I don't know if you guys remember when we were children, like someone like Sierra as well. There was these ridiculous stories about how she was intersex and stuff like that. Yeah, it was just ridiculous. Yeah. And so I do think there is something there with celebrity and public perception and what is pushed as the norm, or for women. That
try to strip black women of their femininity a lot. Like, it's like, as a black woman, you have to be soft and very sweet and lovely and cook and clean and in order to be perceived as feminine, because there's already this thing that we're strong, we're hard, we're long suffering, all of this kind of stuff, which ends up with situations like what we're speaking about with Megan and with Sierra. And I think there even used to be the same sort of energy towards Tiana Taylor, because she's a more muscular woman.
Yeah. Tiana Taylor definitely got that as well.
Sierra, Megan, I'd be like, oh, sexy, because of the high sexualization of black women, especially with certain assets. But once it comes to pain, once it comes to hardship, suddenly we're able to do those things.
Yeah.
Like, I highly reject. I think there was someone put out a TikTok the other day, and to be honest, she's talking about money, blah blah. But she must have said something like, "Oh, men will be looking for a strong woman that can endure, blah blah." I'm weak. Me too. I'm weak. I'm putting it out there. I'm a weak woman. I'm fragile and frail. If you touch me, I'll break. Because at this point, apparently that needs to be put out there, because how can a woman getting shot? We're still in a society where we have certain gender roles and people are supposed to feminine, masculine, blah blah blah. A woman getting shot and people making jokes. A woman, a young girl with no mother, no father, and people making jokes. Nobody's to look after her in the hospital.
I think more so. I think the bigger thing is just the stripping of celebrities from humanity.
That too,
and these sort of kind of constructs that we have, constructed ideas that we have of celebrity. And so celebrities don't feel anything. Celebrities don't have feelings. So we can bust jokes about her being shot in her foot, and well, she's rich and she's a celebrity and she's famous. So she doesn't feel anything. She doesn't hear anything. She doesn't see anything. And this is just for our entertainment. So it's fine, because I'm a normal person.
Different response if Kylie Jenner got shot in the foot.
What'd you say?
If Kylie Jenner got shot in the foot, do you think there'd be a different response?
I think jokes will definitely fly,
Yeah.
but at the same time, we have to do the. I think we have to remember the jokes flying is not just because of Megan. It's because of Tory Lanez as well. It's the weird asymmetricity of him being a little man and her being how she is. So I don't think the jokes are flying purely because it's Megan, although you know that's a contributory factor. So with Kylie, yes, if the settings were right, the jokes would definitely fly.
I feel like
it's celebrity.
I honestly feel like people would be like, "Wow, she could have died. She's a mother." I feel like
no, definitely. Because remember when Kim got robbed in Paris?
Yeah?
Nobody was making jokes about that. Nobody was making jokes about that.
Some people were, but
I mean, some people were, but overall,
I think
that's a serious situation.
I think in general, if we're working off a comparison, people crack jokes about anything.
No, anything will get cracked on.
Yeah, but the reaction just would be it wouldn't be the same reaction as this situation with Meg.
Like in my mind's eye, I can look at it and be like, I know that people perceive Kylie as softer and more feminine than Megan. I can tell you that now, like straight. As much as people might not like Kylie for whatever reasons, their family lives, whatever, surgery. Like if we just look at it in terms of the way that people respond to her, everybody wants to look like her. The way that she talks, even it will be perceived as more feminine, dependent because of like what is feminine in the wider space of the world.
Yeah.
So I just feel like those things, it would have to be a small, dainty black woman with a high pitched voice for there to be real sympathy. Like where people, everyone will bust jokes at everything, social media. That's what people do. But I just feel like this whole situation just shows how much black women are stripped from just being there.
I think the I don't think it's mutually exclusive that people find her. I think most people find Meg Thee Stallion attractive, but I also think most of them also then because I think with Meg Thee Stallion, right? I think she's very much sexualized, right?
And
but you can be sexualized without necessarily carrying your femininity. So I think that's where the disconnect is.
Like she's got a big back, she's got breasts, she's got a small waist, she can dance, all that kind of stuff, but still not perceive her in the genteel, feminine way that you, as a man, someone might feel protective over her, don't want to harm her, won't fight her because she's feminine, she's a woman. But there's this, you can still have a sexual energy towards that person.
Wait, so that wouldn't, but that doesn't have any bearing on how people talk about her though. Like they still talk about her in those like derogatory terms.
That's my point. So just because people can look at you and be attracted to you doesn't automatically equate to them seeing you as feminine. That was my point.
Okay, right.
That was my point. Yeah, that just because someone will feel some kind of attraction to you doesn't mean they will necessarily actually see you as a full-on human, and then actually see that you have, this feminine side to you, because we all have different sides to us. So, so it is quite a sad situation that has played out with her. I think hopefully they find out, the law does their job and they find out what happened, because from what I've heard so far, the cooperation levels are low. So the investigators are going to have to be on job to investigate and figure out what actually fully took place. I guess we can just pray for Megan and hope he recovers from it. I mean, she's shown quite a lot of resolve and sturdiness in terms of getting past.
It reminds me a lot of Nella, and I know like Nella like loves Meg, so maybe that's why. But like just the resilience of like, see, Nella's gone through a lot this year as well. Like just the resilience is mad resilience.
Yeah, shout out to strong black women. Although Joelle says she doesn't want to be called strong, she doesn't even want to be considered as strong. So shout out to weak black women as well. We see you. We know you exist. We're not denying your existence. So
we acknowledge and accept your femininity as well.
But I don't feel like weakness has to be associated with.
Yeah, exactly. I think I don't think they're even like, you know, they shouldn't be like mutually inclusive. Like they should be like, I think they should be separate, right?
Yeah, I think vulnerability should be associated with both masculinity and femininity.
Yeah,
that is the ideal, right? That is the ideal. But that's a whole nother discussion for another day.
Internet. Be careful what you say on the internet.
Yeah. And to be honest, be careful. Even if it's be careful of what you say on the internet, because other people are gonna see and they might take pleasure. Be careful on what you say on the internet, because that stays up there forever, and people can search up what you said. So yeah. Don't say anything you wouldn't say to your mom.
That's pretty good.
That's a safe policy, man.
Actually, that's not necessarily that good. Because some people will say anything to their mom. Some people don't respect their mom. So
respect. My mom will also say things that she shouldn't put on the internet. So
exactly. Yeah, our parents say a lot of stuff that maybe is not.
Don't say things you wouldn't say to your manager.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty safe. That's pretty safe. Alright, cool. Thanks for joining us once again in another episode of the Window Podcast. Like, subscribe, do all of them things. I don't know the list of things that you have to say for YouTube, but do all of the stuff that you have to do.
How long your notifications?
You made it.
Turn on notifications.
Yeah, turn on the notifications. Yeah. Alright, cool.
It's a wrap.